Everybody doing? My name is Mathematics. I'm a grateful man in recovery, and my problem is me. And I'm real grateful to the city of Taunton for putting on this overdose awareness function. I've overdosed 7 times myself, and so I never really get a chance to ever thank the EMTs and the nurses that were there when I came back. So I'd like to just take this time. This speech that I'm going to do today is going to be for the EMTs that helped bring me back. Also the nurses that were there in the hospital that helped bring me back. Also my cousin Clarence that I lost recently from overdose. My boy Bobby Montero and Jose Cotto. I've lost 3 close people to me just recently. And I also want to speak on the behalf of the 93,000 people that overdosed last year during COVID from opiate use as well. And so I did drugs and I did alcohol. I first became addicted when I was 13, and I lost. I sold drugs and I lost. I drank and I lost. I did drugs. I hurt my mother. I hurt my family. And I didn't know at the time that I have an allergy and there's no way that I can use drugs and alcohol in safety. So basically, from the age of 13 until about 45, when I finally got on the right path, it's just been prison, institutions. I've been in 131 detoxes. I did 15 winters and 14 summers in the state prison system, and that's all due to never taking my recovery serious. Never taking the time to actually learn about the threefold disease, to learn about the spiritual malady, to learn about the allergy, and then to actually work all 3 sides of the triangle that have me standing in front of you today. So when I went to prison this last time at the age 45, me, my lawyer, and my 2 godfathers, it was the first time that I ever prayed before going into the court system. And it was the first time that I ever cried. And I didn't cry out of fear. I cried because I knew that I was gonna put the old me to rest and give some birth to the new version of myself. And I finally became incarcerated. And every single incarceration, I never wanted to do the drug program. And I finally did the drug program this time. And I wanted to come home and just kind of do the same old thing that I used to do. But my lawyer gave me a card. And he said, when you get out, call my wife and go to further treatment. I had no parole, no probation. And I just wanted to come home and do the same old thing. But I realized that I had to try something different. And the lady came up and visited me and she told me the importance of going to treatment. And I know today that the first 7 letters in treatment spells treat me, right? And as an addict, I always know how to treat a car. I always know how to treat a Gucci belt. I always know how to treat a girl. I always know how to treat a union job. I always know how to treat, I could treat everybody else with respect, but I never knew how to treat me. And so I finally went to treatment for 7 months. And my case manager introduced me. He said, you're not going to go to those meetings that you used to go to where you just hang outside the meeting and you smoke cigarettes and you try to get with girls and you're buying clothes and looking flashy. He said, I'm going to send you to the solution-based meeting. And that's why I went to a solution-based meeting, and I was introduced to the 12 steps. And by being introduced to the 12 steps, I was introduced to the allergy of the disease. And I know that there's a lot of people here that have family members that have passed away, or you have family members that are struggling. And the 12 steps is the solution, but the only way I can respect the solution is if I know what the problem is. And that's why I could never get sober. And that's why I dragged my mother, I dragged my kids, and I dragged the people that love me the most. I always had the utmost respect for the bartender. I always had the utmost respect for the guy at the liquor store. I always had the utmost respect for the dope man, for the coke man, and for the lady at the pharmacy that was letting me get my prescriptions early, right? And waiving the mass health copayment. But then I would come home and I would destroy the lives of the people that I slept under the same roof with, the people I shared the same last name with, and the people that I shared blood with. I hurt them the most. But that's because I have a disease that's self-centered, egotistical, it's selfish, and it's all about me. Because I lost the spiritual value system that I was raised with. I had no connection with my higher power, and so the drugs was what I was connected to the most. So I came home and I was introduced to this allergy, but I was also introduced to the spiritual malady. I was introduced that there's 3 keys to recovery. It's called the how of the program. First, I have to get honest. Then I have to get open-minded. Open-minded to what, though? I have to be open-minded to take some suggestions, right? And I took the suggestion. I got a sponsor. I joined a home group. I became of service. I started going on commitments. And then my sponsor took me through the 12 steps. And then after I made a few amends, then I was in a position to go out, give back, and start doing the type of stuff that I'm doing today. So I'm just here today. I was a man that sold dope, did dope, but now I'm a man that's very strong and firm on every day sharing hope. And the hope stands for helping other people every day. And that's what I try to do on a daily basis. Do I do it perfectly? No. But I'm in a program that's a perfect program for imperfect people, and I have some steps that can help me with my imperfections. So I just wanted to really come here today and give the mothers, give the fathers, give the family members, give the kids some hope that, you know, I came home in 2017 with state flip-flops on, state jeans, and a state shirt, and I had nothing to my name. And if it wasn't for me having a gracious and kind mother, they helped me get some things, I would have absolutely been nowhere. So I came home in 2017, November 10th, and since coming home, I'm losing in the union, and I love the union, and I love doing construction, but it doesn't fill that spiritual void for me. Now I work in the recovery field. I started off as a recovery specialist, then I moved up to a case manager. You know, I came home with a high school education, no job, no license, and I had a real glorified bus pass. I got the month one, right? And so things have changed. I'm a case manager now at Bedrock Recovery Centers in Canton, right? I run a lot of the groups at the facility. I've gotten my license back. At 47 years old, I finally know how to pay some bills now and prioritize my life, all due to working this program of action. And so, you know, I went back to school. All I have to do now is take the test to get my LADAC. And not only has it been a transformation story, I'm working now at the same Wyman facility that I came home to, right? And so I have two jobs now. And the glorified story is the Dedham House of Correction a couple of weeks ago offered this habitual criminal a job.
Wow.
Right? To come in and be a recovery specialist so that I can catch the guys and tell them that recovery is possible, right? Before they come out the door. Sometimes we come out the door if a friend picks them up, if the toxic girlfriend picks them up, if the toxic boyfriend picks them up and get into their mind before the solution can get in their mind, sometimes they fall short. So when April asked me to come out here today and share my transformation story, I really just wanted to come out and let the family members know that, like, the number one thing that you can do, my mother became a black belt in Al-Anon, and she learned how to start setting healthy boundaries. And if you have loved ones, going to Al-Anon is one of the number one things I can suggest, because not only does it teach you how to set healthy boundaries with someone that's dealing with addiction, but it also helps you heal as well, and it also lets you know what we're going through. But I came home and I got a spiritual mother right through this program, and her name's Audrey, and she really set some healthy boundaries, and she let me come stay at her house for a year, but she helped me grow as an individual. And the reason why treatment is so important is because I never knew how to live. The stuff that makes me a man when I'm incarcerated means nothing out here in the street. And so, you know, I came home and I just had to really continue to put myself in a position to learn some new things, be open-minded to suggestions, and put myself in a position where I could be the best son I could be, the best human being I could be, and be the best father I can be. Because it teaches me in the 12 traditions that I got to practice these principles in all my affairs. And the only way I can practice these principles in all my affairs is try to be as balanced as I possibly can. Not just go to a meeting and treat the people at the meeting nice, and then at work act different, and at home act different. I had to find a way to realize that I have to try to be an upright and upstanding individual at home, at work, and at abroad. So I just, you know, I know that sometimes we feel as though that there's no turning around. But like I said in the beginning, I've spent the bulk of my life in institutions. I've spent the bulk of my life incarcerated, and I have OD'd 7 times. One of them was very fatal. And so at the end of the day, you know, if you do work a program of action, recovery is possible. And it just, you know, one day at a time, just keeping it in the day, anything is possible for anybody that chooses to put in the work. And with that, I want to thank everybody here today for having me, for listening, and I hope that you got some hope today, that you can realize that your son or your daughter or your nephew or your cousin or your niece or your grandchild, if they put in the work, they can bounce back. Hope is possible. And with that, I'm Mathematics, and thank you for allowing me to share.